And uh, the first topic of business is, I guess, Caitlin, it's the minor modification, right? Or are we going to do the continuations first?
This is Caitlin. I would start with a roll call first, please.
All right, we'll do a roll call. Steve Delisle, are you there?
I am here.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
I am here.
I hear Stephen.
You are here.
Hi, Ken. It's Caitlin. You're breaking up a little bit, and I'm wondering if you would be okay with letting Stephen start the meeting, since his audio and connection seems to be working great.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Okay.
Why don't you?
Thank you.
begin?
Caitlin, we're doing the roll call. So Mr. Swanton is here. Let's see. Mr. Bennick,
Present.
Miss Scow,
Here.
Miss Pecknick,
Here.
Mr. Chagnon,
Here.
and I, Steve Delisle, am here. So we have six members. And Caitlin, who will be, if Rob doesn't show up, who will be the voting member as between Miss Pecknick and Miss Scow?
I believe that it should be Ms. Scow and Ms. Pecknick at the last meeting. Do you recall who was the voting member?
I was there, and so Lynn was absent, so I voted on the last
Okay,
meeting.
so if you were a voting member for the Woodland, you would vote for Woodland, and then Ms. Scow would be voting for Mosley and the minor modification.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Caitlin, after roll call, where are we going next? Are we going to do the withdrawals, or are we going to do the minor modification?
I think that since we do have the applicant online, that you would do the request for minor modification first.
Okay. So we have a request for minor modification for, is it 14 Chapel Street?
9 Chapel Street.
9 Chapel Street. I'm sorry, I'm going blind here. Okay, so minor modification for 9 Chapel Street. Do we have the applicant to speak on, or a representative to speak on the applicant's behalf?
Yes, Damon Penny. I'm the homeowner along with my wife.
Okay, Mr. Penny, if you can speak clearly into your microphone so everybody can hear you, please go ahead.
Yeah, am I coming through loud?
I think you are for me. Everyone else?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, we came before the board in March for approval of a renovation of Whitechapel Street, and thank you for your approval. The project's now underway. Part of that approval contains special conditions that I'll read just briefly. As shown on the rendering, the garage doors shall have the windows and a wood finish. Shall have windows and a wood finish, and the first floor doors and the windows of the connector shall have a wood finish. And I believe that's based on, this is one version of the painting that was rendered on behalf of the architect that was shown at the meeting. You can see here we have the connector refers to the front door area, and of course the garage doors both wood finished. So that was something that our architect and an artist set up just before the working drawings, just set up so we could have something to show the board. And it seemed great to us. We're very appreciative of the approval. However, when we actually now underway and are looking at products to purchase for the garage doors, we're finding that the wood finish is not really working for the project. To explain, we have a wood front door. We're very close to fitting, to picking. It's a light finish. And we attempted to find commercially available garage doors that would match that finish. we were obviously shooting for a durable aluminum finish, anodized garage door that had that wood finish. And we failed to find anything that would even closely match it. In fact, we found the finishes to be not very good, not very high quality. Then I drove around town. I looked at the very few garage doors that have a wood finish around town. I didn't actually like the look of those. So we kind of struggled to find something to match it. The alternative is to get a real wood garage door. We found that to be surprisingly actually very expensive, unaffordable for this project. Got a quote for $4,500 per door for a wood door that would actually require continual maintenance. It could be stained to custom stained to color to somewhat match the front door, but it's extremely expensive and high maintenance, and that you have to constantly varnish and repair that. And unfortunately, in this house, we have back in the garage doors before our aluminum ones. We can bang out the bed. So, long story short, just we're hoping that the board would consider the replacement of that wood finish specification with something that is painted. Our idea now is to use a taupe color you'll see on screen that is, we think, pretty complementary to the just slightly off-white finish siding, along with the wood door, which totally complements the wood door. It seems to be pretty much a historical nature. To be clear, we will have, I think it was the 10th of the original diagram, hardware and windows, and actually a curved shape, which we've selected, that will kind of give it a carriage style door look, which we think is kind of historical complementary. So I would just hope the board would consider our request to keep this project affordable and on track by substituting the requirement in the special condition, replacing wood finish on the front door to, on the garage door to a painted surface. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that, oh, I'm sorry, let's close that part. Oh, we're not in a hearing, Caitlin, so how does this work? Do we take comments from the public, or do we just go right to questions and sort of deliberations from the board regarding whether or not this is a minor modification?
Usually you go right into your deliberations, but I will tell you there is no one in the audience right now raising their hand, so you're all good there.
Okay.
And I will mention that Chair Chimpetti came into the meeting as the applicant was beginning his presentation. So it's up to you how if you want to pass it on or continue out this agenda item.
No, I would say continue on, Stephen, and my apologies. I had a client meeting here at the office, and you know, who thought that anyone could talk longer than a lawyer? But you know, what can I apologize for being a little bit late, but I'll participate as you know, but you can continue to run the show, Steve. Okay,
that's great. So why don't we just go around the horn then, and we'll start with Mr. Swanton.
Yeah, I fixed my audio issue, by the way. Hopefully you can hear me now.
You sound much better.
Good. Yeah, much better.
Thank you. I thought this was very clear presentation and the documentation for this minor modification. So I do not have any questions.
Okay, so I think we go right into deliberation, Mr. Swanton. So
oh, all right. Well, then I will, yeah, on that note, I can certainly sympathize with the applicant's issue in trying to find two large wooden doors and the impracticality of that. And I think his solution is a reasonable one and fits the definition of a minor modification. So I can support his proposal.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Swanton. Mr. Bennick?
I agree with Mr. Swanton's remarks. He's has it spot on, and I agree.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chagnon?
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a minor modification, and I agree with my colleagues and can support the change.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chagnon. And then I think that since Mr. Ciampetti came in, we'll pick up Mr. Ciampetti as we are. Caitlin, will we vote only 5 members on this, or does everyone vote on a minor modification?
I would ask Chair Chimpetti, it seemed like you came in right at the beginning of the presentation. Did you feel like you heard enough to vote?
I can say that I reviewed the materials and I also, just as the presentation began, I had logged on. So I feel like I had the full experience. So I feel comfortable that I'm competent to vote.
Okay, thank you.
And Caitlin, are we just a 5-member vote on this?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so then we'll go to Mr. Ciampetti.
I have nothing, I wouldn't have anything substantive to add, other than I too find that that the modification as proposed, it strikes me as minor under our definition, and I too can support it for all the same reasons that I think my colleagues have mentioned.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Pecknick?
Yes, I would also support it. It's minor and it's a tasteful choice.
Excellent, thank you. Ms. Scow?
Yes, I would support it as well. I echo the comments of my colleagues here, and I would also add that I appreciated all of the information that you gave us regarding alternatives that you sought and the cost and how you looked at other properties in the surrounding areas. I thought that was very helpful in the decision making for me.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Scow. So I think we can go to a vote. Or do we need we need a motion? So can we get a motion from any member of the board?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the minor modification.
I'll second it. Ken Swanton.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Swanton. So we have a motion made by Mr. Ciampetti and seconded by Mr. Swanton. We will now vote. Mr. Swanton,
Yes.
Mr. Bennick,
Yes.
Mr. Chagnon,
Yes.
Mr. Ciampetti,
Yes.
and I, Stephen Delisle, vote yes. So it is 5 in the affirmative. The motion will pass and it will be deemed a minor modification.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. Good luck. And I guess with that, I can turn the gavel over back to Mr. Ciampetti.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Delisle, and again, apologies for the delay in getting online. So we have in our business meeting only the request for minor modification, which we've just finished. So we can close the portion of our business meeting and get into our public hearings. And I believe we have requests for continuances on the 2 matters that are before us. So we can take those up. And Caitlin, do we have a date request for 48 Woodland and or 44 Mosley? Has any of that?
Just a point of clarification, Mr. Chair, for 48 Woodland and 44 Mosley, we have requests to withdraw without prejudice for both of them. So it's just 2 votes to accept the withdrawal without prejudice. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that clarification. My apologies. So we'll take them one at a time. So we have the request from the applicant on Russell and Deborah Worthington, 48 Woodland Street, to withdraw without prejudice. Any comments or deliberations requested by any members of the ZBA? And in the alternative, do we have a motion to approve the applicant's request to withdraw their application on 48 Woodland without prejudice? And a second.
So move, Ken Swanton.
Great. And do we have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Shagnon.
Thank you very much. Motion's made by Mr. Swanton and seconded by Mr. Chagnon on the request to withdraw without prejudice, 48 Woodland Street. Calling the roll. Mr. Chagnon.
Yes.
Mr. Swanton.
Yes.
Mr. Bennick.
Yes.
Ms. Scow.
Yes.
And Ms. Pecknick.
Yes.
And I vote yes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it's 6 in the affirmative. Who are our 5 voting members? I may have missed that. Who's serving as voting?
I believe Ms. Scow, I think, were you not here for this one?
I was not that one. That's correct.
Okay, so then our 5 voting members are Walter, Ken, Patricia, myself, and Greg. Correct? We have
Mr. Delisle as well.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delisle. And
I was absent for this, and I would have recused myself from this matter if I had not been absent.
Okay. So our 5, thank you for that. So with
Yeah,
Mr.
sure.
Delisle's recusal, We had called the roll, and we will count Ms. Pecknick as the voting fifth, our voting fifth member. And just to restate the roll, we had 5 in the affirmative on the motion to accept the withdrawal without prejudice. The ayes have it, motion carries, and that matter is withdrawn without prejudice. Similarly, the application of Jean Allen of 44 Mosley Ave. This is a special permit for nonconformities. Applicants requested to withdraw without prejudice. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Ken Swanton.
Very good. And second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Motion's made by Mr. Swanton, seconded by Mr. Bennett on the motion to withdraw without prejudice of 44 Mosley Ave. Calling the roll, Mr. Shannon.
Yes.
Mr. Swanton.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Delisle.
Yes.
And Rob Champetti, I vote yes. That's our 5 voting members. I guess in this one, Patricia and Lynn are both they're both non-voting, correct? So I believe
Yes.
that's 5 in the affirmative. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Matters withdrawn without prejudice. That concludes our public hearings for this evening. And going into our business meeting, we just have the minutes from Gretchen of 9/26/2023. Any comments or changes? And if not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved, Ken Swanton.
Thank you, Ken. And seconded?
I'll second that, Stephen Delisle.
Thanks, Stephen. And so motion's made by Mr. Swanton, seconded by Mr. Delisle on the motion to approve the minutes of 9/26/2023. This is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Any no votes? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. And thank you, Gretchen, as always. I have no updates, and I don't see Andy, but Caitlin, is there anything that we that needs to be shared from the planning office that we should know about?
Nothing from the planning office. Thank you.
Great. All right. Without any further business or updates, I'll close the business meeting, and that concludes our business this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Excellent. Motion's made and seconded by Ms. Scow. All those in favor, say aye.
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 No abstentions, no votes, and no nays. Ayes have it. Motion carries, and meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Thanks.
Good
Have a
night.
nice evening.
Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.